Hey guys, welcome back to another Unplugged Health here. With Roger once again. Switched back to the normal seats just in case you were a bit uncomfortable.
What is normal there? That might not be the normal.
Oh, they're going to the Matrix there. We touched on stress last week and we said we're going to bring some ways of managing stress. How you can actually use stress to thrive off of in order to improve your life, level up, whether it's your business, your relationships, but more importantly, your health and your balance. What, first off, do you see as the biggest way of managing stress?
I think the biggest thing in managing stress is trying to at least identify and put your hands up that stress is playing a negative role in our health and our life, and identifying where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You got to you got to identify the enemy and put it in your target. And then I think digest it, understand it more. The quick fix mentality is probably the biggest hurdle. I think that's where they're reaching for the alcohol, reaching for what we've always said, the sedatives, is too easy and too quick. So I think it's really identifying and going on a journey of understanding it. So that you can break it down and understand it. I think that's the first point. And then looking at which options, as you unravel it, is going to suit you as an individual. Because I think that the terminology stress is so broad. So for one person it might be nutritional is an important thing, or sleep, or something which we touched on before, from that you can branch off and become more specific. So you've got to identify what's going on in your life,
and also that we do need a bit of stress in order to we can use stress to our advantage to push us forward to improve our lives. We talk about stress and the stress hormone being cortisol, that if we took cortisol completely away we would also be unhealthy.
So avoid that standard approach of if only I had no stress then life would be alright. But I think most people identify under the term stress here of something which is having a negative impact. Mm-hmm. It's resulting in a breakdown of function, whether that's at home or at work, or coping mechanisms. So I think a lot of it is identifying what the stress, where's that stress coming from, and then individually going on a path of looking at what coping mechanisms are out there to suit the individual. From our perspective, chiropractically, we will always break stress down to, as I've said before in another episode, physical, emotional and chemical stresses, and then we're either toxic or we're deficient. So that's a basic system of what's going on, what is the stress, how's it impacting our life, saying I don't like this, so that's for us the starting point. But you've got to identify what the stress is.
And everyone's level of stress is going to be completely different, and everyone's ability to handle stress is going to be different. We've touched on some of the things in previous episodes that you can look in the actual, on YouTube, on iTunes, in the podcast areas to actually see the previous shows. But the big thing that we've seen and spoke about is sleep.
Sleep is huge. I was saying with a patient earlier today that he's changed his diet, he's exercised, really enthused. So we asked he's high profile businessman. I said, what about your sleep? And that's one area he hadn't really considered. And so we directed him towards our podcasts. So go back, have a look at some of the episodes, because there's some valuable information there. But sleep is a huge one. Once you start getting sleep, and then within a week, 2 weeks, it's really quick of how amazing how the body adapts and starts finding how. Or you then go back and then you lose some sleep and you realize how rubbish you are. All you got to do is you look at as a family with a newborn baby, and then that baby eventually gets in a routine and they start getting their sleep back, and then you have teething, or the baby has unsettled, is unwell, and sleep is taken away again. It's a big one.
Yeah, a massive one. And the next thing I've got on the list is lowering your blue light. Now, with blue light, it links in with sleep, and one of the reasons that when we sleep, we want to get rejuvenative sleep. We want to get sleep that's going to allow our body to recover and then start to thrive. Now, having a lot of exposure to blue light, all these screens, different lights everywhere, and just fake light, we'll call it more, which keeps our brain switched on more than it should do, especially in the evenings. When we look at, I was watching a film on Netflix and it was medieval time, and you think, look, they've got candles everywhere, they're asleep in a pitch black room, it's really dark, and their body's getting ready to sleep.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say it would have been better to live in medieval times, because there was a film of someone getting hung, drawn and quartered, and I really want to see that.
We've got some nice comforts.
Exactly, we are pushing forward, but let's just remember that our body is designed to stay within the circadian rhythm.
Yeah, and
those to wake and then go to sleep.
They would be far more in tune with that.
Yeah.
The other thing is with the circadian rhythm is really identifying how certain things, whether it's chemical exposure or artificial light, they all mess up our neurotransmitters. You know, so you start looking at the reward system of dopamine, the calming effect, and happy side of chill side of serotonin, but melatonin and cortisol. It's sleep again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the blue light, and it has to be that looking at that addictive side of social media, the addictive side of just check my phone. We've got to really be more aware of how that's impacting our.
Yeah, and we'll do another show on technology. There's a big app that can help with that. I know some clients that have said it's great. I'll switch off and then I'll go to bed and I'll be scrolling for 2 hours, and then they won't realise it, or they'll be watching YouTube in bed. And I really just say that the phone isn't in the bedroom. It's something you stay in the office or you leave it in the living room.
And we've said we're going to do one on you're keen to do one on apps where actually there's a lot of negative press about social media and using our phones, but actually it's a tool that
we can use to our benefit.
We can tweak it.
Interesting fact though, with sleep and with blue light, and we have the daylight saving times. I read somewhere that it was Chris Martin from Coldplay, his great grandfather or great grandfather during the First World War, that made the decision to change the daylight saving times. I never knew that before. Won't help you with your health.
We know who we're going to go and complain to or not to. I don't know. I
think
in the modern day life, the daylight saving, there's pros and cons either way, but I still think we're trying to live the same way of life all year round, where nature around us has very much a summer cycle and a winter
with
cycle.
foods and other areas as well. That goes on to the next management of stress. The next thing to manage stress is meditation and affirmations, getting your mindset on point and having a good morning or even routine, whether people want to meditate before bed, whether I do some deep breathing before bed, but my personal routine. And I've noticed so much more improvements in my health, in my immune function, not just that, but my relationships, my business, my strength in the gym and my endurance as well, that when I get up, I now go and I'll have a glass of water with half a lemon in or lime squeezed in there with some rock salt, help with hydration, help with the delimiting in there for liver function there, but then I will do a meditation. Now, what I was doing is using an app like Headspace or something, we can get to that, but I have a meditation on YouTube, which is a money magnet meditation. It takes 27 minutes, I believe it is. Now, I didn't realise I was doing it at first. Was going straight on my phone, flipping straight to Messenger, straight to WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I would have to I've put those apps into a different place and put YouTube on. And
so it's interesting that you use the meditation. See, I use the meditation and I use YouTube. I think it's a great source of just flicking through. And you start picking up. I have little favourites on my account, and so I start putting through things through there. And I use meditation in the evening.
Yep.
We've actually introduced also in our staff meetings. We start our staff meeting with a meditation.
Oh wow! I've heard you do an affirmation before.
Yeah. Well,
is it like lunchtimes?
Yeah, we do. We've got an affirmation month at the moment, and we just tap in and out of all these things to raise awareness, really. But we found that starting a meeting with meditation, it switches us off from the chit chatter, and says, right, now's our meeting started, and we just choose a topic or so which is current or and pulls us in. So the one we did today was on present time and being focused and being present in the moment.
So ironically you're saying that, and I was looking at the feed from the Facebook group. Yeah, apologies.
So I'm really quite keen on people exploring meditation. I think it also highlights the mental health side of stress. Whereas a lot of people tend to think they see it as a physical thing, so I've got to try and break through, I've got to work harder, I can beat it, as opposed to saying, okay, it's there, let's go with it, and let's deal with it, and so calm the nervous system. And so meditation, I think it's great. It's become a more a regular routine. For me, it's not so much to help me get going and focus in the morning, it's more to settle me and wind down, so it becomes more of a part of my sleep preparation. And even it's just a case of sometimes I just sit there and just listen to my breath. Breathing is so important. It changes your nervous system. It's a great way to change your blood pressure instantly. There's your hint if you're going to go and have your blood pressure taken.
Yeah.
Get into your breath and get into just a rhythm, and it is amazing what it makes. And when you look into it, top sportsmen, business people, high-profile people, when you break it down, they're using meditation. And then the modern-day twist of that is mindfulness. There is a difference.
I think mindfulness is a massive blanket over what is included in it. So meditation, journaling, affirmations, just being kind, paying things forward, all these different things.
One big tip is to look into the mental health and the the mental health side of stress and dealing with that, because I think a lot of people haven't explored that.
Yeah.
And when you start looking at it and understanding the research and the physiology behind it, actually meditation makes more sense than taking having alcohol or sedatives to unwind. It's hugely beneficial. It's right up there with regular exercise, which is another tip, as far as managing
exercise
stress.
as well. I mean, with meditation, before we move on to exercise, some people seem to struggle with meditation because they expect to go in to just shut their eyes and breathe in their mind to be.
And people say, I can't do meditation. I'm not good at it. And it's not good at it, you just do it.
Yeah, and if your mind is busy, you think about what you think about. You can't control your thoughts, because as soon as you try to control your thoughts, you're thinking about controlling your thoughts, which is a thought.
Yeah.
And it's just about what can I do with that thought. And I do the breathing in and visualize a number, kind of like smoke coming out of my head and then going down to one.
Or you could do the guided meditation.
Guided meditation is
is a great starting point, because you think, well, I am thinking of other things, but I keep coming back to a story, and it's a great way to start getting people to understand how meditation works. Because people tend to think, well, I've got to sit there and think about nothing. I can't do that. I start thinking about the emails and this, and that happens. And when people realize that's normal, and you just bring the chattering monkey back, say, thank you, little monkey, come back, and you start focusing on your breath. But a guided one is really good, because you rarely just listen to a story.
One of the ones that I've been doing more affirmation sort of meditation, where I'm not saying the things, but I'm doing a goal setting course, which ironically it's a client of mine, Stephen Kuhn, who I'm going to see next week in Budapest. But he said the last goal setting course you'll ever need, and we're talking about journaling, doing vision boards, and actually having different goal setting different goals in multiple areas. And my meditation this morning was, I journaled on it, and I meditated and then journaled on what my life is going to be like at this time, and what my daily routine is going to be like, what my business is going to be like. It really helps.
One topic perhaps for the future could quite easily be the law of attractiveness, journaling, and that, that'd be a good one.
The law of attraction only works if you take action.
Yeah, but that's the concept, and that's what that would be great to
definitely. Let's put that on the notes.
So another one I think is also, as far as tips, is really eating healthy, eating balanced food, identifying that food is chemicals. Chemicals influence how the body functions. So if you're suddenly finding you're winding up that caffeine, you're going for the sugary drinks, we're having a pick me up all the time. Then it's really identifying, okay, what foods and what things can support me. So like choosing them in the right time. So when can I have foods which are going to calm me and settle me? When foods which are going to naturally support me when I need energy, rather than the big pigments. So the stimulants are the big ones.
Yeah.
I think they throw the system, and then they knock them to sleep, and it's a big one. So without going into real big specifics, because we've touched on foods, and that is, I think, the emphasis on a well balanced
So we've got sleep,
approach to food.
lowering blue light, meditation, nutrition, exercise we said about. Now remember that exercise is dose respondent, it's dose dependent,
Yeah.
because if you have too much exercise it causes more stress,
Yeah.
too little is
So we've got to just watch out that we don't
It's being aware of it.
stress. We don't the exercise at a level that becomes another stress. So that's why for a lot of people who are overloaded the nervous system, yoga and that tends to fit into the meditation. It's a slow exercise, where some people going just for a brisk walk, change environment, get some fresh air, movement, I think
Yeah.
is the key.
Yeah, I prefer to say movement. The last one I've said about is perspective and speaking to someone about it. And a lot of the work I do with clients is actually reframing stress
Yeah.
into something we can see why people are doing it, people's opinions, how we point the finger, pointing back, that we're
Yeah.
getting stressed out about that, what is actually going on. And a lot of things, we're stressed about something in the future that hasn't ever happened,
Yeah.
or something which we think has stressed us out, but the implication of that is a fear, something
Yeah.
we're fearing in
Well,
the future.
I was a classic example in that, being involved with healthcare, and you read everything and that, you have this perception that I've got it sussed. And without going into huge details, the last few years we had a lot of stress going on, and I really just got to the point thinking, I don't know how well I'm coping with this, or I'm concerned of what's coming if I don't change something. So I saw a great professional, good friend, and I worked with Cindy Hearn. And if you want some details, I'll happily pass on Cindy, or she follows us on Facebook, who does life coaching and hypnotherapy. So I had some hypnotherapy, and then which was great, and it really changed my perception that I was stuck. And then worked with her on just looking at it through someone else's eyes, and and it was so beneficial, because I was just stuck in my little whirlwind and going down like a plug. I couldn't. And someone else's perspective just instantly changed, and suddenly I was looking at it from a different perspective, and a different wording, and different it was amazing. It made such a big difference, and it started with an element. I need to speak to someone. Where do I go for in that? And so yeah.
One of the things
the trouble is being stuck.
Yeah, and you talk about language there with reframing things, where people they say, I don't want to be stressed.
Yeah.
And the subconscious doesn't see the don't, it says, I want
Yeah.
to. And also then you're pulling yourself away from stress rather than pulling yourself towards de-stress, happiness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I think we don't keep stress in perspective. So one area of my life is really overriding, and it's creating huge stress, and it needs my attention. But there's still all these other things which are working well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually, there's a part of my life which is dysfunctional, and it needs attention, and the universe is saying, could you do this? But not my whole life is not falling to pieces. So it keeps it in context, and then it gives some strategies. And a lot of the strategies, it's like, none of these are rocket science, and none of these are things which you probably haven't heard or think of. But when you are stuck, sometimes you need an additional person.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're here to help. We're here to, if we can pass on information, or we can help, then please let us know. And sometimes we just need a helping hand.
Yeah, and whether that's just to talk through, whether that's to develop a plan to help you with your nutrition, help you with your exercise, with the chiropractic side of things, and to make sure your body is working optimally, just get in touch, drop us a message, and we'll be able to help you where we can. And if we can't help, I'm pretty certain we know someone that is able to help.
Yeah, certainly with our resources, it's I wouldn't know impossible that we haven't got something to offer in one way.
Any other tips at all?
Be yourself, find your purpose, find fun, enjoy life for the living, and sometimes it is tough, and that's normal. It's stress is there. If we didn't hurt when we stood on a pin and we didn't react, then these are survival things. We need stress. We need the body to respond to stress.
Yep.
But we need to manage stress at a level that we can thrive as opposed to just trying to survive.
Definitely.
So, any feedback? Well, really appreciate that. Get out there. Let's deal with the stress so that we can thrive and live the life that we really would, move towards living the life we want.
Brilliant. Hey guys, thank you for joining us, and we shall see you next week.
Yeah.
Have a great
Take
week.
care.
Bye bye.